Hi, welcome back to the Daily Baker. We're back from our trip, and as you can see, we're back in our normal kitchen. I just want to say a very big thank you to everybody who's watched our previous videos, and especially our To Die For Rolo Fudge. That seemed to be a huge hit with everybody, and so we're going to stay with our theme of quick and easy. So today we're going to make the much anticipated no-bake cheesecake. So when you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to need for this is we're going to need to make a base for our cheesecake. If you're living in America, you have it so easy. You can just buy yourself one of these graham cracker crusts, then you can skip this step altogether. But for everybody else, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to start by making our base. So in here I don't have a food processor. If you have a food processor, it will be so much easier. I don't own one, so I do it the good old-fashioned way, in a baking bag with a rolling pin. So in here I've got 200 grams of graham crackers. I've got 125 grams of butter. For the cheesecake, what you're going to need is 8 ounces of cream cheese. You're going to need 1/3 of a cup of vanilla flavored yogurt, 1/3 of a cup of white chocolate, 2/3 of a cup of white sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla essence. What we're going to do first is we're going to make our base. So we're going to spray our pie tin with some non-stick spray so that our crust will come out easily. So we're going to start by doing that. Okay, so just give it a light spray, and then you can set that aside for now. And we're going to get on to doing our biscuit base. So what I do is I put my biscuits into a Ziploc bag. Just try and get a little bit of the air out, and then we're just going to use a rolling pin. You want them to be quite fine so that you get a nice even base. You don't want big pieces of biscuit in your base, so keep going until they're quite finely crushed. I'm using graham crackers, but you can use any other sweet biscuit that you have. That's looking good. As you can see, it's quite fine and pretty much crushed. What we're going to do now is we're just going to melt our butter in the microwave, and then what I do is I just will add this into the bowl that the butter's in. So I'm just going to melt that in the microwave. Any kind of sweet biscuits. You can use graham crackers, you can use vanilla wafers, you can use anything you like. For people outside of America, you can use tennis biscuits, you can use Mario biscuits. You can pretty much use anything that you can crush. Digestive biscuits work just as well. Okay, so we've melted our butter in the microwave, so I put it on for about a minute. You don't obviously want the butter to start boiling, so you just want it to be melted. So we're going to take it out now. That looks great. Our butter's completely melted. And then what I do is I pour my biscuits into the butter so that you're not losing any of the butter. So we just pour our biscuits in. If you find you have a few bigger pieces, you can always just use your fingers just to crush them a little bit smaller, but it's not really necessary unless they're really big pieces. And then you just mix the butter in with the biscuits. It's looking good. And then we've sprayed our tin, so all we can do now is we just pour our biscuits into our tin and then just press them down into the sides. I use a spoon because it's just easy, so just press them down and up the sides of your tin. Trying to make sure that you get it as even as possible. So you can use your fingers, you can use a spoon, whichever is easiest for you. Then once that's done, we're just going to put it in the fridge to set for a few minutes. Probably I'd say about 30 minutes will do it. So just put it in the fridge, and while that's setting, you can either weigh out your ingredients, or we can even start making our cheesecake. but the cheesecake is really quick and easy, so it's not going to take you long to make. So I'd probably wait until this is ready before you start mixing your cheesecake. Okay, so that's looking good, and we're going to stick it in the fridge. Okay, so for the lucky people in America, all you're going to do is take the plastic wrapping out of this, and that's going to be your base. For everybody else, your base is now ready. It's come out of the fridge, and you want to see that it's hard to the touch. That means it's set and it's ready to go. Okay, so for the recipe, what we're going to do is, I like to make sure that all of my ingredients are at room temperature or as close to room temperature as possible. Otherwise, if they're not, you're going to get a bit of curdling, and that's not going to be nice. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to melt our white chocolate in the microwave. Melt it at like 30-second intervals, because white chocolate melts really quickly, so we don't want to overcook this. So we're going to do that quickly. And you want to give it a stir in between each time that you take it out, and just make sure that it's just melted. It doesn't need to get hot, it just needs to be melted. Okay, so we're going to give that a stir. As you can see, it's not quite melted, so we're going to do another 30 seconds. Okay, so that's looking perfect. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set this aside while we mix the rest of our ingredients, so that this can cool down just a little bit, because we don't want to add it in too hot into our mixture. So we're just going to set that aside. And then what we're going to start with is we're going to start with our cream cheese. The biggest thing with this recipe is that you want to get your cream cheese as smooth as possible. Because we're not baking this cheesecake, we want to make sure that it is as smooth as possible, so we don't have lumps of cream cheese in our mixture. So we're going to start with this and make sure that our cream cheese is as smooth as we can get it. Okay, so that's looking good. Then what we're going to do next is we're going to add in our sugar, and we're going to keep creaming it. So we add in our sugar, and we're going to give it another mix. That's looking good. It's nice and smooth and creamy. The next ingredient we're going to add is our yogurt. So we're going to put that in, and we're going to add in our vanilla essence as well. And we're going to give that another mix. And lastly, we'll add in our white chocolate. I think just you can scrape down your bowl to make sure that you're getting all of the cream cheese mixed in properly. So scrape down your bowl and just check if you have any lumps in it. I'm just going to give it one more mix, and that's looking good. And our last ingredient that's going to go in is our white chocolate. Okay, and we're going to give that a mix. And just scrape around the sides and make sure you've got everything in. And that's it. Your cheesecake is mixed. All we're going to do now is pour it into our tin and stick it in the fridge, and you've got a no-bake cheesecake. Easy as that. We're going to leave it in the fridge to set for a couple of hours, and maybe even overnight if you can, because that will make it set really nicely. So I leave it in for a little bit without it being covered, maybe for about an hour, and then after that put some plastic covering on it and leave it as long as you can before you serve it. Okay, so we're just going to pour that in. We're just going to smooth it around. It's looking awesome. And that's it. We're going to put it in the fridge. Okay, so it's been in the fridge overnight and it's set. So now we're going to decorate it and we're going to eat it. So you can just put a few raspberries on. If you don't have raspberries, you can use strawberries, you can use any sort of berries that you like, as many as you like. And we're going to give it a cut and we're going to give it a try. So I just like to cut mine right down the middle. And then in quarters again. And then we're going to take a really good piece out of here. That looks pretty good. And we're going to give it a try. That is amazing. So I hope you enjoyed making meringue cheesecake with us, and we'd love to see you back soon on The Daily Baker. If you want to get hold of us, you can either email us at thedailybaker1@gmail.com or send us your comments on Facebook or on Instagram or on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'd love to see you back soon. Thanks for joining The Daily Baker for No Bake Cheesecake.